Beyond episode 401. That is the thing we're doing right now. This is a podcast about PlayStation games. I am Max Scoville. With me, Marty Sleva.
Thanks for having me, Max.
Sure. Brian Altano. Anytime, Brian. And Andrew Goldfarb.
Hey, guys.
How's it going?
This is good. It's the morning.
This is the morning. So
This is the morning or the morning after Beyond 400.
This is the morning after three of the weirdest episodes that we've done.
Yeah.
I mean, the three weirdest episodes. Like this is we're flying to Comic-Con tomorrow. We're doing this show a day late because it was 4th of July weekend this last weekend, and I think yesterday we were kind of low energy. So if the video portion of this is up is a little bit late, apologies. Apparently, the summer is a strange time for people who have to go and see things in the world of games.
There's so many events. It's crazy.
Yeah, it doesn't end.
Yeah.
Yep. After Comic-Con, we got Gamescom, we got QuakeCon, we got PAX, all kinds of stuff.
D23 Ds.
Yeah, D23.
Cornichon is the
Cornichon.
number one small pickle convention.
There's CornCon, which is for fans of the hit Freak on the Leash band.
There's Emma WattCon will be with the world's leading Emma Watson convention.
Is she going to be there?
She for the 7th year in a row.
She sends in a video being like, please stop inviting me to this.
There's ConCon, which is about convicts.
Oh, it's
no
not
one
about
knows.
cons?
No one knows where that is because they're liars. All right, now there's a lot of conventions, and we're working
crazy.
all of them, or all of us are somehow working some of them. So
Yeah.
We're gonna fly to Germany together.
Yeah, we're gonna have wacky adventure stories from
Yeah,
that.
we are. It'll be
We
good.
do have some stuff to talk about today in the world of PlayStation games and so forth. I feel like it is kind of like we're kind of getting that summer lull, and it's hard to tell if particularly we're just kind of like low energy because we're working a lot, or if it like. What do we got in terms of games right now? There's Batman, which everyone got super pumped on, and then I feel like we kind of are we kind of petering out on that, or are we kind of rolling?
I would say most of our audience has probably finished it by now. Very few have probably 100%ed it, which is kind of a pain in the ass. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely a big game, and I feel like we talked about it a little bit on Beyond 400. First of all, thank you for everybody who sent us kind words about how fun that was. For all the people that came to visit us, we had 497 people in attendance. And
three passed away. We had 500, but 3 passed away during the podcast.
Actually, 3 were eaten, which is odd.
They were great. They were delicious people.
Thank you again for those human sacrifices on stage.
The problem was we invited 497 cannibals and only 3 non-cannibals. No, so thank you to everybody who came out. That was really awesome. But we have to talk about Batman a little bit. But I feel like, and I explained this to some people, doing a kind of in-depth conversation about a game like that doesn't really work in such a live setting. So we got to talk more about the comedy aspects of it and kind of the goofy stuff about Batman. But there is a lot that we love, and some stuff that we don't love so much. But we'll get into that later.
Let's unpack some of that in a bit. Andrew, you brought some little news, some quickies.
Yeah, some cookies with Andrew.
I don't know if we want to call. Is that
little quickies?
That's what it is. That's what it is.
Why don't you step on into the podcast room for a nice series of quickies with Andrew?
Short sex with Andrew.
I love that. That's what the Roper Report is. Roper Report turned into News Ghost, and now it's Quickies with Andrew.
So, anyone who's listened for a long time probably remembers the Roper Report, which was I love Colin, but it was like 45 minutes long, and it was like 20 stories. We're gonna try and keep these to 3 to 5 a week.
It was actually a baker's dozen.
It was a baker's dozen. That's true. I'm gonna try and keep these pretty short. I think it's just worth kind of looking at what's happening. Like Max said, news right now is kind of interesting because there are so many events that we're in that weird period where people are waiting to announce stuff at PAX or announce stuff at Gamescom or whatever.
That's why it's nice to have you back, because you're newsy. This is your job.
I try.
This isn't our job.
I try.
Our
to
job
be
is
easy.
just to be dumb and to forget things.
That's right.
Yeah, like Brian and I are literally talking to this week.
That's pretty cool.
Can we talk about that?
Can we talk about that?
I don't think so.
Are you guys kind of this week?
Well, I'll bloop it out. We're
We're actually talking about this week, which is America's favorite national
I'm going to
pastime.
bleep it. It's going to be even more
That's
confusing. I don't know.
Yeah, it's still pretty
So how
good.
many do you have today?
I have 5.
A baker's dozen.
God, you're the worst.
I got to keep that alive for news ghost Greg Miller.
Yeah, that's true. Please do. For anyone who hasn't listened to 400, you should
Spoilers.
get the identity of the news ghost.
Yep.
So one, perfect example of kind of that lull of lack of announcements. This isn't really a typical like press release or announcement story.
Just tell the story. Tell us the story.
This week, a
Tell us what
gentleman
happened.
on Reddit claims to have discovered a SNES PlayStation prototype.
But this is a PlayStation podcast. Why are you talking about old Nintendo games?
Well, I'm glad you asked. So the idea is for those who don't know,
Zoinks!
the origin.
Sony system of consoles existed in a vacuum, separate from all other sorts of console gaming.
What is that voice? That sounds like a Powerpuff Girls anime.
No, it sounds like the animated guy in Community in the episode where they're like doing the space drama, trying to use the footage of Chang.
Yeah, that's kind of a deeper cut than my reference, which is instantly acceptable.
Marty got it. So basically, the origin of the PlayStation 1 was that it was going to be an add-on to the Super Nintendo, and then the company kind of parted ways.
Because Nintendo was historically impossible to work with back then, and that's actually the reason the PlayStation became what it did, was because cartridges were so expensive. They were upcharging, I think it was $40. They were charging third parties to buy blank cartridges that they would then sell for $60 to $85, which is why you saw such high prices on the N64. And you saw CDs on the PlayStation, which were so much easier and cheaper to manufacture at the time. So yeah, Sony, that's what I kind of, we talked about this to Beyond 400 a little bit. So what I kind of love about them is the PlayStation 1 was built out of this kind of scorned relationship of them being like, you know, I'm going to be single and I'm going to go do crazy things. I'm going to go hook up with third parties at the bar and be sultry. And Nintendo was just like, no, you don't do that. And they went off in different directions. And the N64 started their sort of downward spiral of their systems selling worse and worse, which peaked with the Wii and then dipped again with the Wii U. And Sony just got bigger and bigger and bigger. So it's a really amazing story. But this is the bridge. This is the actual physical thing.
If this is real, it's super exciting. Yeah, like no one knows it. It looks very real.
This
like
seems legit. Like this looks like we have old images from like an old issue of EGM.
Yeah.
There's like I think old patent records or something. Like people have, this isn't like some kind of like fantasy object that somebody's just kit bashed to make for Reddit karma.
And he has a video that he showed where it's like it looks pretty legit.
So where did he claim he found it?
So that's the thing. His story is, my dad worked for a company. Apparently, one of the guys he used to work with, I think his name was Olaf, used to work at Nintendo. And when my dad's company went bankrupt, my dad found it in a box of junk he was supposed to throw out.
So he doesn't know enough about his dad's old employers. He should really know more about this. But that's Olaf Olafsson, who used to be working for Sony Interactive Entertainment, which is what eventually turned into Sony Computer Entertainment.
Right.
Interesting.
And it basically, he was like Olaf Olafsson was like a 35-year-old physicist who had published several novels and was, for whatever reason, working as a businessman with Sony.
Yeah.
And I guess this guy's dad was I think either in like either IT or was a janitor or whatever. And he just like
stumbled upon this thing.
Basically told at one point like, hey, we're throwing out a bunch of crap. Go take care of it. And he goes into some room and there's just this crazy prototype sitting there, and he's just like, I'm gonna steal it.
And the interesting thing is, like, this guy,
which happens, right?
Yeah, this guy can't find the power cable, he says, which is weird because it looks like it's just a standard cable. And he also can't identify the cartridge that's in it. But we'll see. I mean, it's a very convenient story. Because those specs are out there and this matches it so closely, people are like, well, it's not like impossible that you could 3D print approximations of it and make it like, it remains to be seen if this is legit.
It doesn't look like sort of,
it looks
cheap.
really good.
It doesn't look cheaply 3D printed.
Yeah.
Like I've seen 3D printed stuff that looks amazing, but it doesn't have that sort of layer cake look to it or that kind of brushed sandstone.
And this
look
has like the
3D
faded
printed
coloring, the yellowing that SNES gets.
Which is a really awesome tip off, because anybody who owned a Super Nintendo or a PS1 knew that after 10 or 15 years,
it becomes like urine soaked color.
And different intervals too. Like the top half is yellow, but the bottom half is gray. I don't know why. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah. So I mean, we'll see. I would love if someone can authenticate this. Like, this would be an incredible find. Like, if this is legit, he'll probably sell this on eBay for like $20,000.
Oh yeah, or Unseen 64 will try to like kickstart being able to purchase this.
So there's a guy we've had on. I want you all to look up his work. There's a guy we've had on the show named Stephen Peedlin that worked for Zynga. I think he still does, right? And he's a huge collector, and he's been collecting old school video game stuff for years. And he was the guy, like, when Nintendo had their World Championships at E3 just now, he was tweeting at the guy who won the trophy because he was kind of like, hey, I want that, you know?
Yeah.
He's like a really friendly or really nice Slugworth. And now I say that in the nicest way possible. Super awesome guy. But he's the kind of guy that I think would be perfect to hunt this down, because he would archive it. He would take
or like
care of
Frank
it.
Cifaldi or one of those guys.
Totally.
Like, there's so many like incredible historians.
The reality is that like this game, whatever's in there, is probably not a finished game.
No.
And it's probably some weird prototype. I think our 10-year-old brains are like, oh, it's probably Mario versus Crash Bandicoot. But it's like nothing like that was ever.
I love it. Like that's exactly why I was like, what if it's something like that?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Mario
even
versus
if
Crash
just
Racing.
that image,
even if it's
though,
just like a weird different 3D Mario. Or
Oh
something.
yeah,
Like,
totally.
Even that image of the SNES controller or the Super Famicom controller with PlayStation on it.
so
It's
weird.
So
Yeah.
weird. It's
Well,
that's
because
cool to see.
it really, what's fascinating to me is that, like, if you went back in time to that exact point and that you did everything you could to make amends between those companies, and you created that hybrid console together, and forever in video game history, those two forces joined, you would have a completely different video game universe right
Oh,
now.
absolutely.
Yeah, it's
Completely
crazy.
different. And it's like you wonder how big that monopoly would be, because Nintendo was originally sort of kicked aback by Sony, and then that kind of gave an entryway for Microsoft to step in. And it also, like, around the same time, that's when we saw the 3DO and the Philips CDI and all these
Jaguar, yeah.
everyone and their mother made a console. And they all failed invariably, one by one. But the Nintendo N64 went on to sell a lot, and the PS1 went on to sell like 4 times more than that.
The CDI was Philips, right?
Yeah.
That was the one that Nintendo partnered with. Kind of.
That they did partner with,
They were basically double dipping. That was their like.
The result of
They
that
were like, well,
partnership.
we don't need you, Sony. We've got a date to this party. Well, excuse me, princess.
Yeah, yeah,
Such
literally.
hits as Hotel Mario and what the is wrong with Link's face?
Yeah, the result of that
favorite Zelda
partnership were 3 of the worst first party branded Nintendo games ever made. Obviously, like we had, Wand of Gamelon starting. It was just like this bad Legend of Zelda. But I mean, we almost got like a PlayStation Legend of Zelda. But I like maybe it would have been Wand of Gamelon. Like,
Every time you say that, I'm just hearing Wanda Gamelon.
You're just picturing Wanda Sykes.
This
like,
is
in,
my
like, a
date.
wizard
It's
cap.
Wanda Gamelon.
So yeah, this is cool if it's real. We'll
Yeah.
see what happens.
Very cool.
Journey PS4 release date was outed, has now been confirmed as of this morning, July 21st. This is just a quick one, but it's really exciting to me to see Journey on PS4. I played like 10 seconds of it in D3, but
it's gorgeous.
it looks so good, and like I'm so ready to play it again.
Yeah.
And what's cool is if you bought it on PS3, it's just free.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
it's
that's
just
nuts.
cross-buy.
That's totally nuts.
Well, I mean, when you think about how big PS4 has been, how big the install base is already, and how many people came over from 360, like there are probably a lot of people who have never played this.
That's true.
And so if you just got a PS4 and didn't own a PS3, like you absolutely have to
Yeah.
play Journey.
You know what's going to be really interesting is the wave of people who've had this game just hyped up so much for them.
Sure.
And they maybe don't know what to expect, and they're
Yeah.
going to jump in on that. And I feel like we're going to get this kind of deluge of like weird sort of apologetic disappointment from people who are like,
Yeah.
I've heard so much about this.
Some
and
of you
it's-
said it was the game of the generation.
I mean, we
Yeah.
almost voted it Game of the Year here at IGN.
Yeah.
Did what won? Oh, it did win.
No, yeah,
It
Journey did win.
Journey won, yes.
It was neck and neck
2012.
with Walking Dead
with
season
Walking,
1.
it was like Journey, and then like 2 votes below was Walking Dead, and like 5 votes below that was Dishonored.
God, did we get dumped that year or something? Like, I just love that it's like, what are the best games? The one about the scarves and the exploration of yourself, but with secret friendship.
I
or
mean-
the one about sadness and feelings.
We got a ton of
Did Call of Duty not come out that year or something? Like,
Call of Duty rarely.
did Santa skip our house and we didn't get any fun games?
Call of Duty rarely gets in our our rankings for Game of the Year. I mean, it does a lot right in multiplayer and stuff like that. But Game of the Year that
did
year
Call
was.
of Duty 4? Did Modern Warfare 1? Because that was the one that would have, right?
I'm sure it was at
I
least
think it got close.
nominated.
Yeah.
No, but I remember the year where it was like Journey and Walking Dead, and we were just like, wow, these two like kind of like indie darlings are neck and neck against games
Against
that were
Dishonored and like all
against
these big,
huge.
yeah.
Was BioShock in there? Infinite? Was
No,
that that
Infinite
year?
was the year after.
The
So
year
this was
after?
2012, which was what were the other games? So 2011 was like Skyrim and Batman and Uncharted
Dark
3
Souls,
and all
yeah.
that. 2012.
Those two,
I know
Dishonored-
Dishonored
was
was
that
in
Far Cry
third
3?
place. No, Far Cry 3 was December of the year before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Journey is an incredible experience. I don't think it's an amazing game. Like, and I hate saying
think
that.
it's
that
an
we've had
amazing-
this
yeah.
before. You are.
You can
nuts.
jump though, idiot.
Yeah,
It's
you
a
can
game.
Chirp.
You can chirp.
jump and
if
chirp.
if you
You
get
can't
on
really
the
jump.
You collect stuff and unlock a new outfit. It's a game.
You get
You
the
have
white
to collect
robe.
stuff to jump.
The
have to
white
collect
robe has a
stuff to
permanent
get.
scarf.
It's called a power up.
You can't jump unless you collect stuff. That's the way.
Welcome to video games.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Video
You
games
can't
where
jump
you can,
unless you collect stuff.
It's a Metroidvania.
Every video game has a jump button that you don't have to earn.
But you get better jumps.
Hey,
I feel like this is you make this argument like out of spite or out of some weird place. Like you're the last person to ever say a video game needs X, Y, and Z to be a video
No,
game.
I don't
Some
actually. I don't actually care. But Max is right.
I
And that
love
we're-
baiting you.
because like you're right in that a lot of people are going to play this game for the first time and be like, A, that was 2 hours long, and B, that was kind of like a really gorgeous interactive screensaver where you mostly press up.
That sounds like a Terrence Malick movie, which is perfect.
That's
Yeah.
fine, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're like one of those guys that's like gameplay is key, like it's not it's not for that. Like, you have to go in with those expectations.
But that's why the medium's evolving, right? That's why something like Gone Home or any game that technically you have that is it a game, is it not a game debate? Like, it doesn't matter. It's the experience. It's like what, like,
Right, you
the
called it
emotional
experience,
resonance
which is
of
what I
that
called
story. But I think that is still a game, right? Like
yeah,
anything interactive that gives you any kind of feeling.
You know why?
can still
You know
be a
why
game.
we call it a game though? Because it's faster to say game than interactive experience,
That's true.
and it's like
It's a lot of syllables.
we're all gonna die pretty soon, so we should probably.
How soon?
Every second counts.
I don't know. Well, I mean, it's depending on what we do with our bodies.
Hey,
Marty.
We're
Speaking-
flying to a comic book convention tomorrow.
I'm having
Don't
a
tell me how it-
kombucha. Okay.
You're having raw synergy right now.
Having raw sewage.
Speaking of dying soon, the first details
Spoilers.
of Telltale's Minecraft story mode were revealed at Minecon over
Yeah.
the weekend. I am not a Minecraft guy at all. This is actually super exciting to me. It's inspired by like 80s movies.
Goonies specifically.
Yeah, and so like a lot of the cast is from the Goonies.
Yep.
Paul Rubens, which you may know as Pee-wee, is in
Yeah,
it.
famous Goonies character.
yes,
Paul-
exactly.
Also,
Weird
wasn't he,
man from Blow.
Yeah, and wasn't he Penguin's dad?
He was
in
Penguin's
Batman
dad in
Returns?
Batman
Yeah.
Returns.
That's so
right.
crazy.
He threw that little boy in the river.
And he also
But-
he did a gold farm quickie in a movie theater once and got in trouble.
Okay.
It's called a quickie with Andrew, not a Gold Farm quickie.
He was seeing the film of Baker's dozen.
I like how that was the correction I made, by the way. But
yeah,
one
so-
thing I think is interesting about this is it is a story in the Minecraft universe. Patton Oswalt's the main character. Ashley Johnson seems to be the female lead.
Yep.
But what I like about it is it's not the story of Steve, which is like that Minecraft character you see
Yeah.
everywhere. It is just a cool story. They're not calling it the story of Minecraft or anything, which to me is really interesting because I wonder what that means for like if there's a season 2 of this, does that mean it follows the same character or do they do yet another story somewhere else in the Minecraft universe? I think it's a cool idea to add story to a place that has basically none. And I think like that universe is the art style is really cool. I think everything about it looks actually really interesting and very Telltale.
I think
Yeah.
it's fascinating that they're adding story to something that I think a lot of like people infer their own story to. Like a lot of children play Minecraft and they go, "This is my house, this is my
Yeah.
town, this is my world." You know, it's sort of what the Lego Movie did in
Yeah,
a way
totally.
that a bunch of children play with Legos and adults play with Legos. I have Legos. I'm not really an adult, but putting it all together and creating a story out of it, they kind of did that with the Lego Movie, and I think it makes sense. So. Where I'm more interested in where this goes is that sort of the Telltale storytelling of branching paths and stuff like that. You know, that's where it starts to get a little more interesting. I think that there's going to be some hesitance from the Minecraft audience that is used to the building aspect. I think that Minecraft is an open world game and Telltale games are sort of like plays where
They're like the opposite of that.
they're the
Yeah.
complete opposite. In Telltale games, you can walk to the edge of the stage in every area and be like, this is where it stops. And you don't really have that in Minecraft except for the end of the ocean. You know?
Yeah, I worry if this is just totally missing the point. Like, I mean,
I think
I never get into Minecraft, but I kind of get the whole like, hey, it's exploration and
Yeah.
creativity and totally like open ended. And
But
like,
I think
Telltale
that's the
is-
idea, right? This is like a Minecraft for you and me. Like this is
Yeah.
like Minecraft for people who don't like Minecraft. I don't think they're expecting the 8-year-old kids who have made Minecraft the
that's-
billion-dollar franchise it is to come to this. I
Right.
think they're expecting the people who aren't playing Minecraft to care more about the brand.
So then why is it a Minecraft game? I guess that's the thing is like I'd be just as keen on playing like a brand. I mean, obviously like you get something like Minecraft and that's going to attract a budget and names like Patton Oswalt and you know.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It feels like it's kind of like trying to prove a point rather than. I mean, like
that's-
it might totally blow everybody
The
away.
reason
it might
is
be
because you
fantastic.
start off in the lead already. You immediately start off knowing people are going to buy this just because of the name Minecraft.
Yeah.
But I think it's interesting. It reminds me, it's a much more extreme version of, I think, their relationship with Borderlands. Because Borderlands, yeah, it's known for its story, but it's primarily a game where the verb is to pull the trigger to shoot and have numbers come up and continue to get new gear. Whereas that is absolutely not what Tales from the Borderlands is about whatsoever.
Right.
And I'm not a huge Borderlands fan, but I adore Tales from the Borderlands. And so I think like the way I feel about that now, I'm like, all right, I trust you guys with this world. Let's see what happens.
Difference is though is there is an established world there. You know, like there is
Yeah.
the Borderlands does have an incredibly fleshed out universe
With a
and, like,
very distinct tone and everything. That
Yeah.
So many people I've talked to have been like, yeah, I mean the game, I'm whatever about the gameplay, but I like the sense of humor, I like the universe, I like the the characters and stuff. It's like Minecraft, they're kind of starting fresh here, and it's like that's the thing is they're going after this very like they're going after a bunch of old people. They're being like, oh, it's the Goonies. Yeah, got a bunch of got Pee Wee Herman's in there, and it's like Minecraft 8-year-olds. Like, are they gonna? They don't.
So I don't see it that way. I kind of see it as when somebody makes, and Pixar's really good at this, when somebody makes something that works for both children and adults, where a kid is playing it and he's just like, these characters are goofy, and hey, is that Ratatouille? That's really cute. And then you're an adult sitting there going like, man, they're kind of evoking the Goonies here, which is like something that I grew
and I
up
think
on.
Lego Movie did it well too.
Yeah, and I think that's
Well,
so
I remember
like
the cool thing about the Lego Movie. Did you guys see it in theaters?
Yeah.
So did you notice that there was a great divide in laughter in that movie, where there was a joke for children that was like slapsticky, and there was a joke for an adults that you heard all the deeper laughs in the room, and it was constantly ping ponging. And I'm like, that's good writing.
Well, so yesterday, Ben Kuchera from Polygon wrote this article about playing Telltale games with his kids, which is really interesting because The Walking Dead is obviously like super mature and like there's like awful gore and stuff that happens in that game. I find this really interesting because like think of it as like the dad can play it and the kid who loves Minecraft can sit with his dad and watch him play it.
Steve
And there's
can play
nothing.
with his kids. Parrot can play with his kids.
Exactly, yeah. And like
also
I think
good,
in that way it's really cool that it is part of this brand because it can just be like a nostalgic like 80s themed adventure game, which is like right up a lot of like older people's alley.
Yeah.
But their kids are still gonna love to watch it.
Yeah, maybe that's why it's going over my head here, is because I'm 28 years old and I don't have a kid.
You're right in
like I am
between,
right in, and that is a really weird sensation to have as a gamer.
Yeah.
Because like when have they made a game that is for children and for dads, but totally skipping that like
The key 18 to 35.
right? Like that is ducking the most obvious the traditional demographic, which is kind of like
which is
wow,
in that way
yeah.
it's really cool.
That's
yeah.
crazy.
And that's why I like that. Like Telltale is like a million games right now. They announced a Marvel game that's far away. They have their new IP. They still have Game of Thrones. They still have
the Michonne
Walking
thing's
Dead.
coming,
They still have Borderlands.
yeah.
That Michonne spinoff.
Jeez.
Like they have Wolf Among Us could get a new season. We don't know. Like
of Thrones,
they
like, there's
there
so
are a
much.
million things going on. What I like about this is that it's not just like replace the art style, now it's Minecraft blocks. Like I think it does fill a gap that they don't have, and it's exactly that. This is the family-friendly Telltale game, basically, which I think is really interesting.
Yeah, which they haven't really done since Monkey Island.
And like Back to the Future, kind of like
So
those things.
what we do know is that this game was in development with Mojang before the Microsoft deal was in place.
Yes, yeah, and it's coming obviously to PlayStation, to everything.
Which means that Microsoft will they publish it?
No, Telltale will publish. They're licensing the IP to Telltale, but it's fully a Telltale.
Microsoft's
is
name
Mike-
will be in the credits when you play this on.
In this exactly
Because Microsoft we know paid what how much was it for
$2 billion?
$2 billion
Yeah.
for the Minecraft license, which obviously they're going to start recouping off of
But it's like
merchandising and all that
Borderlands
stuff.
is no different though, right? Like Borderlands is still published by Telltale, just that Gearbox licenses that IP to Telltale. So it's like a Gearbox
Yeah, but
world,
Gearbox
it's
and
still-
Sony aren't mortal enemies in the eyes of
Well, it's really interesting you said that, right? So this came from Minecon. That's where this news was announced. And one of the things that was really cool was that there was literally a Microsoft booth at Minecon, but in one of the areas there was a PlayStation area where you could play Minecraft on PS3 and you could play on PlayStation consoles. And I think that sends home the message loud and clear that like, yes, Microsoft acquired this brand, but it is not going to be like, it's not going to be that shady like 90s, 2000s things where it's like, oh, like you could play it on PlayStation, but on Xbox you get this much more. Like, no, they're treating it as they should, which is the biggest brand.
I have a feeling on Xbox you'll get this much more.
I don't think
I
they
mean,
will, honestly.
I honestly don't know
I
that you
don't
will
think
do.
so.
I think that would be a bad move on
The
their part.
I think
PC
they'd look
version
like-
right now, like they just announced a Windows 10 version. The PC version is the lead version, but it always has been. And like
Right.
Microsoft has always had dominance in like because they make the operating system that most people use. Like
Well,
obviously the
there's
Windows version.
I mean, I play Minecraft. There's a ton of exclusive stuff on the Xbox 360 version. There's like Master Chief skins and a whole bunch of things like that.
Well, sure, but there's also a Sackboy skin that you can only get on PS3. Like, I mean, like that goes both ways, right? Like, I don't know. I think this might be the one brand that is so big that it transcends that.
I mean,
and it's like I'm not ruling out Minecraft 2 someday only for Xbox or something, but
That would be
crazy.
that would
to
be
You
me.
see,
as
well,
well.
you see a thing that happened with something that is as big as stuff like this. I mean, Apple did this with Microsoft products, where they were
Right.
like, we can bash our heads against trying to make proprietary like Office software, but the standard is always going to be Microsoft Office, so we might as well just bite the bullet and let that come over to our platform.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even Blu-ray discs, right? Like, I mean, like the Xbox One is still using Blu-ray, and it's like, yeah, only a tiny portion goes to Sony, but it's still like a weird crossover thing. Like, I don't know. I think Minecraft as a brand, Microsoft, because they spent $2 billion on it, isn't short-sighted enough to try and neuter, try and cut away half the audience.
I think they're smart enough to know that they can make more money off of putting it on other platforms.
Exactly.
Because I think that I mean, first of all, we don't know how a Minecraft 2 would even work because it's like Lego 2.
This time it's spheres and they don't stack.
It's a ball pit.
You can only mine, no crafting. But yeah, I think it'll be interesting.
Yeah, it does have probably the best voice cast ever assembled.
Crazy, yeah.
I'm kind of cautiously optimistic for it. Like I said, I definitely played more Minecraft than anybody in this room. I'm really big into it. Although it's one of those things I kind of dip in and out of. But this is different, and I think that if this even sells to 1% of the people that play Minecraft, it will still be the best-selling Telltale game.
That's the crazy thing, right? Yeah, I think it remains to be seen. When I see a lot of those trailers for Telltale games, like, you kind of never know.
Yeah.
And obviously, even the best, even like Walking Dead Season 1, which is like probably their even among everything else, it might be their most critically acclaimed still. Like, even that had a misstep. I think most people didn't like episode 4. I think like they've had hit or miss episodes here and there, so it's just like you never know until the series completes.
I really want them to just be there, and I'm sure they do too. Where it's like they're like, hey, we're interactive comic books basically, or they're like interactive TV shows, you know, like, and we're like clearly they are massive trendsetters because like Walking Dead did do as well as it did, and it basically blew everyone away. And you're seeing other, massive publishers kind of aping that, like, Life is Strange, stuff like that.
Yeah, totally.
And I think that the episodic format is really. It is such a like a kind of distant goal that everyone's kind of going after, and we're not there yet because the turnaround time, like, they haven't found that kind of balancing point of like, how much content do you put in this, how many moving parts does it have, how do you like stress test or QA test stuff like that?
The two main issues holding them back, and a lot of people are experimenting with episodic content now. Like, I mean, they just did it for Revelations too. Like, Capcom took Resident Evil, which is one of their flagship franchises, and they said, let's split this up into multiple episodes over a couple weeks, to varying results. But Telltale's biggest issues are, one, its engine, which I feel is constantly showing its age. It is
especially
something
on PC.
It's
People
something
lose saves. And
on Vita, it was a slideshow to play most of Walking Dead Season 2, and it's something that they put on every single platform. So whatever they build has to stretch from everything from iPhones to PS4s to PCs and everything like that. And number two is that there is no frequency to their episodic content.
That's the thing. It's
it reminds me of.
I was gonna say, if I start playing episode 1 of Minecraft, I go, this is awesome. I go, when's episode 2? And they're like, September. And I'm like, cool. And then it's like, nah, it's in November.
Yeah. And you made that point the other day. Imagine if HBO like premiere, it's like season 6, Game of Thrones, and they play the first episode, and then like
2 months later,
is episode 2.
There was that
and
writer strike season of Lost was like that. Where it'd be like, here's 2 episodes, we're taking a month off. It's like,
and it kind of killed the show. And you know what sucks is like a lot of people, and I did this with season 2 of Walking Dead. I got so fed up, I said, I'll wait until the whole thing's done.
That's how I feel about Game of Thrones.
And I'm gonna marathon it.
That's right. Game of Thrones too.
Like Game of Thrones, I'm not gonna touch that until it's ready.
And that's why I only played the first episode of Wolf Among Us, because there was such a huge gap. It just, I don't know. I think Telltale has a lot to figure out, especially as they get bigger, because they're spreading themselves thinner and thinner the more projects they have. But so far, the quality bar has still been really high.
Yeah. What I think is interesting is that we're seeing this, like, I mean, we do see this with like writer strikes for TV and stuff. I try to follow comics to a certain degree. Like, I read a lot of Image comics because they are. I don't have to pick up 5 issues to figure out one character's doing, unlike certain superhero stuff. But because Image is like frequently indie or kind of like more. It'll be like a two-person team or whatever, they will take hiatuses, and I'll be like, oh, I'm going to read Saga, and I'll pick up 3 issues, and then they'll take like a 6-month break, and I will forget what has happened.
Yeah, that's the issue.
And I really wish that, like, and it's the thing is, like, we're at a point where distribution is more, I feel like digital distribution is like more of a stable like platform than it ever has been, or anything ever has been. Like, you don't have to mail a pile of comics to a shop someplace. I mean, they're still trying to do that to keep up with it, but like in the case of Telltale games, like the kind of the ecosystem is there. Like the ability to get their content out there is stable. It's right there. It's just a matter of getting their stuff ready on their end.
I mean, you almost want them to like sit on episodes for a little while.
That's exactly what Capcom did with Resident Evil, because obviously that game was done because they came out, I think, every week.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like the Marvel game that got announced. It's like, when are we even going to see that? It's like, I don't know. It's like we've had this conversation on the podcast already about like announcing games too soon, and it's just like wait.
They announced Fables and Walking Dead at the same
and
event.
King's Quest,
which never came out, which is now Activision.
That's weird. Yeah, I'm very much like, when it comes to TV, I want to be caught up because I want to, like, after the day after a Game of Thrones episode, everyone comes in and talks about it, and I want to be able to do that. But when it comes to other things, like you were saying with comics, like, I didn't read Ex Machina or Why the Last Man or Preacher until they were done. And I was just like, I can read all of it now.
Yeah, I was always big on the kind of trade paperback thing of just like, oh, you're ready for me? Okay, cool. I can buy the entire thing at once.
Or even for like Walking Dead, which is still ongoing, you can buy that crazy compendium that's like the first like 84 issues or whatever, which gives you that whole first like series of arcs basically. Like, that's the way I think like it just makes more sense.
Fun fact, right around issue, I think it was around early hundreds, around the same time that the TV shows started taking off, and they announced the game. Robert Kirkman just like checked out for like a few months and was just going off. And he was also like, I think he was in charge of Image at the time or had some high up position, but he just kind of spread himself thin. He had other stuff to do, and it's like that's totally up to him. That's totally his right. But it also really sucks as somebody consuming one kind of thread of this universe or something. You know?
Yep.
So I think we all agree. Like I would rather see them finish 5 episodes of Minecraft and release them 1 month after another.
That'd be awesome.
I mean, that'd be amazing to just be like, and just we could come in and talk about them. You know, like,
and it wouldn't even if it was 2 months or 3 months, whatever it was, if it was just consistent, it would be fine.
That's exactly
like it doesn't even have to be like it's not even like they need to come out more often. It's just like let
Especially
let
feels
me
like,
know.
hey, the first Tuesday of every other month is coming out. Which
That
is
would be great.
Yeah.
Because we're not consuming this stuff in a vacuum. Like I'm going home and I'm watching 7 other TV shows and 15 movies and reading them. And I come back into work and all of a sudden I'm like, wait, what did the wolf guy do at the end of the
Exactly. and it makes you understand, right? Like it's like, yeah, the next Avengers movie is like 4 years away or whatever, but it's like I'm pretty sure I'm going to be caught up and fine, you know, because I know it's coming.
You know what else is worth considering is like we have them doing more mature properties and stuff, but for Minecraft, like if this is a game that is targeting little kids and they're playing it with their folks or whatever, how are they going to manage to kind of keep their attention? Because like remember when you were a kid and you mail away for something and it's like, oh, it's going to take like 4 to 6 weeks, and you forget you ordered it and it shows up and you're like you're a foot taller and you're like, whoa, I don't these sunglasses from Honey Nut Cheerios, they sure are. Like I ordered these when I was much younger, you know. But like time is slower when you're a kid. That's one of those. I think they really need to like be hitting their.
I agree, because if you play episode 1 with your dad and then you're like 8, and then episode 2 comes out when you're 13, like it's like a very different situation.
A whole 5-year gap.
Yep.
Okay, I did exactly what I said we weren't gonna do. We'll try and go through these last 2 pretty quick. Real quick, Vanishing of Ethan Carter is coming on July 15th. You reviewed the PC version.
I did. I loved it. It's a, for lack of a better term, a walking simulator. It has more sort of puzzle
he can say
aspects.
that.
Is this the Chinese room?
No, this was the astronauts. It's the former People Can Fly. They worked on Gears of War Judgment and Bullet Storm.
Yep.
Please always say it like that. Bullet Storm.
No, it was. I said Bullet, and then I had to think of it. I was like Bullet Born.
Bullet
Battle Storm.
Bullet baby. Battle bullet.
Former People Can Fly sounds like such a sad job title.
So normal
I
people.
used to be. We're regular people now.
But it's possibly the most gorgeous game I've ever played. Especially on
really?
PC. It is like flat out gorgeous. We haven't seen what the PS4 version looks like. I imagine it's going to be close to that.
Yeah.
It has a really good story, really good writing. You're sort of a detective trying to solve this boy who went missing. And it has these cool
You'd like it
paranormal
because it's in
elements.
Wisconsin.
It takes place in Wisconsin, but it doesn't really look like Wisconsin. There's like mountains. I was like, I don't remember mountains. I drank a lot recently, but I don't
There
remember
was
mountains.
the Wisconsin Mountains. Don't you remember them?
The West Mountains.
That's the name of the popular sports team there, the Wisconsin Mountains.
The Mountain Packers.
The rivals with the Colorado Rockies.
But yeah, this is really, everyone, obviously, the PS4's lineup of exclusives is a little bit slim this year. It's a lot of things like Journey and God of War and Uncharted, like things we've already played before.
Less than Myriad.
Less than Myriad. What is 2 less than Myriad?
As Colin would say.
But yeah, this game is really great. I feel like
2015, aka 2012 HD.
Wait, that sounds like that awful. What was that? That Cusack movie? Was that 2012? Remember?
Yeah.
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 Where he
That's
had
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
What
not
was
a
he was
good
fighting
They
the
put
war-
giraffes
fighting-
and
was
hovercraft at
fighting.
the end, and it's just
Yep.
I don't remember that movie that well.
But yeah, we'll have a full review next week. But check that game out because it is cool, and it's gonna be downloadable. I imagine it's gonna be 20. It was $20 on PC, I think.
Yeah.
Probably about the same, yeah.
I'm in.
Cool. And then last thing, at Anime Expo this weekend, Inafune announced yet another game. Or Concept, I should say, announced another new game. Once again, spiritual successor to one of their, one of Inafune's classic
He's the Mega
brands.
Man. He's the Mega Man man.
He is the Mega Man, who you may know from Mighty Number 9. This weekend, he launched a Kickstarter for Red Ash, the Indelible Legend, which appears to be kind of a spiritual successor to Mega Man Legends.
It doesn't appear. It is straight
It
up.
is straight up, yeah. And it's that team.
Yeah,
which is
it is
really
that
interesting.
team.
So
Yeah.
is it? I want to clarify something. This is totally like an original concept. This isn't based on anything, though. Right?
Well, no.
No,
This
it's
is
not
based on
based
Mega
on-
Man Legends.
It's like the same way as Mighty Number 9.
Right. No. I mean, I get
Yes.
that, but it's,
Well,
I sort of kind
It's
of
kind of
like
how Magic
well-
Stars are based on Lucky Charms.
No, but
Okay.
here's the interesting thing. So it isn't yet, but So in addition to launching the $800,000 Kickstarter for the game, they launched a separate $150,000 Kickstarter for an anime series.
Okay,
set in the
that's
same universe.
what tripped me up because
Yeah.
I was like, I don't
So it's
know
two-
every anime.
It's
so I
two
was unsure
concurrent
if this was-
campaigns, and they'll do an anime series if that one gets funded.
Right.
That will flesh out this world a little bit.
I'm so tired of big Kickstarters, you know?
Yeah, it's especially a little
Also-
disappointing because Mighty Number 9 isn't even out yet.
Yeah.
Like, so we don't know. It's coming out soon.
Yeah.
It's coming out in
Yeah.
a couple months. And everything we've seen so far is cool, but we don't know if it's going to be
It's
great.
also weird because the Kickstarter rewards for Mighty Number 9 haven't been delivered yet. Which
Hey,
is
but you
more
know what the
important
best
than-
part of being a video gamer is? Announcements.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who
Yeah, I
loves
mean-
announcements?
Yeah.
We got more announcements.
Well, and it's confusing, right? We were talking about this the other day. Like Inafune, kind of like we were just saying with Telltale, like he, Mighty Number 9, and then Recore was announced E3,
Yep.
which looks really
Yep.
cool.
Yep.
And then now this game, and it's worth noting those are all Concept, which is his company,
Yeah,
but
which is
they're
also
not.
the studio that did Soul Sacrifice.
Yes.
Yes.
But they're also not necessarily him.
Yeah.
So it's like this is in partnership with a studio 4 Degree C, or 4C. I don't know how you say that. And then Armature is partnering with on Recore with
right,
Concept.
the
So
former retro.
Armature is former retro guys.
Prime guys.
They did they haven't really gotten to like flex their muscles a lot. They did
They did the
Batman
Batman
Arkham
Vita,
Origins
yeah.
Blackgate for Vita. Yeah, they're
Right.
and they've done some ports and stuff, but they're not. I mean, I think that's their first like big original world
Yeah.
to my
That's
knowledge.
got to be. I feel like there are tons of studios out there that are just full of like really talented people with really cool ideas, and for whatever reason, there's just been something in the way of them.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, it's paying the bills. That's
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
what's usually in the way.
no, like Arkham
yeah.
Origins, Blackgate did like that reviewed horribly. What was a really cool idea.
No,
It was like
it reviewed decently.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was like 5.
It was kind of a dupe. It wasn't what Arkham fans wanted, and it wasn't what Metroidvania fans wanted. It was neither a good version of those things.
I remember when they
Recore-
announced it, we were all
Because in our heads,
freaking
we're
out.
like,
yeah.
oh, this is going to be a Metroidvania. Or this is going to be
Yeah.
like Mark of the Ninja, but you're back.
It's a great idea on paper. Really great idea on paper. Just like playing it wasn't very fun.
Yeah.
And it wasn't too pretty. Recore looks really interesting, but it's also an Xbox exclusive. So I mean, you can go off on this podcast.
Toilet flush
I'm
noise.
kidding. I'm kidding. No, it's
I
also
like how
like
literally one episode ago in the timeline is Marty being like, "Oh, I ended the console wars."
Yeah.
yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I think that Inafune is kind of in that Miyamoto-esque mentor thing now, where he can kind of just walk in and flip over the tea table type of thing.
He just draws like a robot dog on something, and everyone's like, "What's that?" And he's like, "I don't know." And they just mail him a check, and he's like, "Hey, Recore."
So that being said, the thing we're glossing over is I don't know if you guys have played Mega Man Legends,
Yeah.
but I love it.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Like, I think
It's
it is.
awesome.
I think it's probably the closest thing on the PS1 to an Ocarina of Time game. It's like it's more RPG-ish than that, but I think it worked a lot better than a lot of classic 8-bit games did in their jump to 3D.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
worked a lot better than any Castlevania game ever has.
So I agree, and it's why I'm curious to see.
Oh, that's for sure.
The problem is like I look at these characters in this world, and at least this is totally just me, subjective. But I am just not interested
Really?
immediately.
I'm
Like
the
I
other
don't
way
like those
around.
designs. Like I
love 'em.
It is so early that like I want to see more.
So-
but
Yeah, they should have definitely kept this kind of pitch in the oven longer, I think, because
Yeah.
they have like a really sketchy animatic for this, and they're like,
Right.
"Here's what it's sort of gonna look like, kind of," and it's like,
yeah, I mean, it's interesting too. Like how much are they able to pull from the failed Mega Man Legends 3 3DS game?
yeah, because that got killed completely.
Oh,
that
that's
got killed.
right.
That was the one with that
completely, but, like,
weird trailer. It was like wasn't that the weird like live action trailer? with,
Yeah,
like, the
that's
voice tone and
right.
stuff?
They were
Yeah.
making that, and
Yeah.
they started re-promoting all the old Mega Man games at the same
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
That was back when
Oh,
Mega Man
God.
still had a chance.
that was back when somebody at Capcom was just like, "Let's piss off some fans."
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Was that like 2009 to
No,
2010?
I was in the industry.
Yeah, I mean,
12.
I'm skeptical.
was that late?
I'm skeptical about this because Mighty Number 9 was a really gorgeous game a year ago, and sort of mid-development, it completely switched art direction, and that was kind of a bait and switch for everybody who backed the Kickstarter.
Yeah,
And-
they went from like animated to like
Yeah. And Recore is something that we've seen an animated trailer for, something that I believe will probably be a 2D side-scrolling game. Like,
Whoa.
No, I don't think so.
way.
No.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. I'm thinking it's going to be like a 2.5D side-scrolling game.
Oh.
Did we see it at E3? I thought
No, it was
people.
a
Well,
We
the
saw-
trailer
we
was during the
saw-
press conference, but there were appointments, weren't there?
think so?
We saw a trailer. I don't know. I don't think it was. We don't
Actually,
even know what kind of game it is.
Yeah, we don't know anything
It's
about it.
a Recore. It's where you go record.
How are you going to recore something in 2.5 dimensions? Nobody knows what that means.
Easily.
You got to get the core. You got to get in there.
You got to take the core. You put it in another robot.
You can't do it from the front or the side. You got to do it all around.
Any way you want.
You got the cores are round.
Stop it.
There's so many dimensions on a sphere.
So yeah, we'll see.
I thought there were no dimensions on a sphere.
Back another Kickstarter for another game that isn't a real thing yet.
Played in 3 years. Yeah.
I mean, I kind of want to just start. I want to dust off my like 5th grade drawings of video game ideas and just be like, yeah, this one's about a guy with a hoverboard. Give me money.
Yeah.
Here's my my game is.
Should move forward.
Yeah.
Well, you gotta make a real game first, and then your company has to tell you that you can't make a sequel to the next game, and then you go, well, we'll make our own, and then you change everything about it, and you give it a new dollar store name. It's pretty much what they do.
Well, that was Quickies with Andrew. 40 minutes worth of Quickies
Wow,
with
you
Andrew.
lasted a long time today, Andrew.
I lasted literally to the minute the exact amount of time I said we weren't going to take.
45 minutes? A lot of people would be happy with 45 minutes with Andrew Goldfarb.
Well.
I'm just
Are you blushing? You blushing?
You are
This is
really
funny.
red.
Oh, look at you! Look at you,
Wow.
little guy.
All right.
I'm so glad you're back.
I know. So
You
much.
happy to be
a
here.
strange little man.
Big old cheeks.
Look at those rosy cheeks, you little boy. You're so happy.
Guys are the worst.
Little red little boy.
I'm a boss here now.
that is true. You just sort of outrank.
You are a boss. You are not my
outrank
boss.
him. Yeah.
You do not outrank.
Let's talk about Bagman.
I don't know if you outrank me.
Bagman.
Bagman. So
Right.
Batman Arkham Knight. Most people are finishing it. If they are, I will not get into any spoilers, but there are a couple endings for this game.
Batman
One-
has a car.
He does have a car.
It's a big old car.
It's a tank. It's a huge. It's there a lot. It really makes itself known that it's.
It
part
looks
of that
like
game.
your stepbrother's CD player from the 90s. It's
Yeah, so I'm
scary.
I'm very. It's right. It looks
Has
like
the word Iowa on the side.
no. It does kind of look like if you stack all the Sega systems. And it kind of controls like that too. So I think a lot of people have been asking for the Batmobile for a very long time. We finally got it. And some would say they kind of put too much of it in there. I'm kind of mixed on it. I think it's fine. Like, it's not bad. It's not great. It sort of just exists. My issue with it is that there are almost no boss fights in Arkham Knight. And the ones that do exist, which are with people who should be, awesome opponents for you in hand-to-hand combat, which is something that the whole game cruxes around, turn into these Mario Kart battle mode levels where you're basically just driving around shooting turtle shells at each other,
Which is so frustrating.
it's so weird.
I haven't played this like almost at all. I played a little, or I watched a little at Marty's, and I played like the E3 demo a year ago. But it's like, as someone who loved Arkham Asylum and Arkham City, like I just moved in. I'm finally about to get a TV and internet, and I'll finally play this. But it's like, hearing that is so disappointing to me.
Well, you guys played Arkham Origins, right?
Yeah, I played up to like the 9th time you're on the bridge, and I gave
So
up.
Origins had those kind of amazing, like, they were almost like Tekken style fights where you would go up against an opponent in this kind of arena, and it was one-on-one, and every now and then they'd throw some other enemies in there. But it was hand-to-hand combat, and it felt kind of punch-outy in that you had to like learn patterns and figure out weaknesses and stuff like that. All of that is gone in this game. Like, I mean, you fight droves of enemies like usual, but they're just the kind of generic henchmen guys.
and it
really
doesn't-
disappointed by the fact that like I'm kind of getting through it, and I'm realizing that given how much time I put into it, I probably should have fought a boss by now. And
Right.
I mean, Dan Stapleton put it. He was saying that like the previous games they had boss fights that were sort of cool. Some of them were really good, and then some of them were kind of dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Kinda
like the
kinda
end of
tedious
Arkham
and-
Asylum. That's the only bad part of that game.
When
is
Joker
the end
becomes,
boss.
like, Super
the
Joker.
Titan
Right.
fights. Yeah.
I wasn't actually wild about the Killer Croc fight.
I
in
hated
game
that.
either.
Oh yeah, when
I
you're running.
hate-
That's right. When you're running like
Yeah, but like
towards
the
the camera.
Mr. Freeze fight is super cool.
Totally,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I think the Poison Ivy fight was also pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like, there's some cool stuff.
I mean, there's
in
some
there.
good, and it's
Yeah.
also like it's a big part of like what keeps Batman from just being like this weird, just this kind of bully,
Yeah.
like the fact that he's going up against people who are kind of his equals, and in this one you're just fighting some soldiers,
angry
Yeah.
henchmen. Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing is it kind of failed on the promise of what made Arkham Knight exciting to me, which is that at last year's E3 they talked about how like the Batmobile is just part of your arsenal, and it's like in the same way you would use explosive gel or the Batarang or anything else. This is a new tool in your tool belt, and just that Ace Chemicals level they showed, I was like, yeah, that seems awesome. Like I can call my Batmobile when I want to, but I can be Batman on foot when I want to. It seems great. But now hearing more about the final game, it seems like it's basically like required for like gigantic
Absolutely.
sections.
Absolutely.
And that's disappointing.
And actually, specifically, the second half of the game becomes way more bat tank oriented, which is kind of disappointing. There was moments where I did enjoy it, where I'm like, there's these kind of bases that you have to take over all throughout the city, which I love. It was evoked a lot of like Far Cry for me, of just sort of being like, here's these towers and here's these areas that you have to take over. And I went into one and I died 25 times in a row, and then I was able to lower a bridge to bring my Batmobile over to that area, and I noticed there was one of those like things on the front that you could latch onto with the Batmobile, rip off the wall, and all of a sudden just gun down everybody inside there with rubber bullets, so they don't
they're
die.
fine. Don't worry about it.
They're okay.
They're to the hospital.
But and then I was able to finish that section in 10 seconds as opposed to like sneaking around for hours. But there's other times, and luckily it only happens once, but they actually have you do platforming with the Batmobile, which is like jumping off a ramp onto a roof to pull down something to drive on this narrow path. I think it only happened once in the game, but there's a couple other times where they're just like, you need to use the Batmobile. You need to use the Batmobile.
Yeah. Also, there are those chase scenes. It's such a like. So the Batmobile is awesome. Like it's really really cool.
Yeah.
The way it's implemented, I think, is just really is kind of like they didn't follow through with it.
Right.
Like I remember them. They said that like they spent obviously a ton of time making it feel good and work well. And it's like, well, if you're gonna have one drivable car in a game, it better control well.
Right.
The problem is they also put so much time into destructible environments everywhere, and you can run over literally anything; it'll blow up into particles, and it's really cool.
There was these pillars in the front of the Chinatown area in the game that I've wrecked 1,000 times, and every time you go back, they're rebuilt because late night construction crews are working tirelessly.
Video game.
But
Video
I mean,
game.
there is some awesome stuff. I want to give it some credit. Like when you're standing on a roof and you hit L1 and you look down at the street, and your Batmobile comes in, and it's
that's so cool.
and it's making that like
and it's kicking up all the leaves.
Oh
and
man,
everything.
it's got like that machine dying down dubstep noise, and you jump into it and take off. Like it's awesome.
Yeah.
There are some high speed pursuit areas in that game where you're going 100 miles an hour in a Batmobile, and you're like, this looks incredible.
Yep.
You know?
Have you gotten to the part though where you drive off a bridge while you're chasing somebody?
Yeah.
And you're just like, what? Well, I'm in a sewer. I gotta go. I got lost.
Yeah, it
and
happens-
like
it happens a lot,
Your OnStar or MapQuest or whatever is just like.
So yeah, I mean, like
take your next
I
lap.
think it's weird stepping back and looking at the franchise because of that, right? Because in the first game came to a time when we were like, oh my God, there's an incredible Batman game, right? Like it wasn't some dumb license thing. It was like received really well. And everyone was like, man, imagine if we went to Gotham City.
Right.
And then Arkham City wasn't quite that, but it's like you got to be out. It was open world and you got to do more. And people are like, man, like imagine if you could drive the Batmobile, because you see it in cutscenes and I think Arkham Asylum, but you don't get to do it. And then this game delivered on that promise, but it did it in a way that I think it was like, be careful what you wish for.
Yeah,
kind of.
I mean, it would have been great if this would have been used sparingly. If 5 times in the game there were Batmobile missions.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
And then
Or
where it was
again-
like every couple hours, like, man, I really want another. And then you get it. And, you're like,
And
oh,
we
this
just
is
talked
awesome.
about this yesterday. Imagine if it was like Dishonored. Like Dishonored, you go and you can either do like low chaos or high chaos. You either kill people or you don't, and like it branches out from there. Imagine if in this game, whether it had branching narratives or not, if every mission there was a way to do it on foot or in the Batmobile. Like I feel like that all people want are options, right? Like, and I think there are probably people who love the tank and love doing it that way. But like, why would you betray the entire gameplay style of the first 2 and technically 3 games? Like it just seems weird to require.
yeah,
it.
that's all absolutely true, and I completely agree with you. I think that like traversing the city in the Batmobile is probably just as fun as it is to whip around on your magical ropes at the top.
I love the ropes.
Yeah,
I like to glide with ropes. I like the super rope and the regular
and
rope
I
as
will
well.
say
Listening
this-
to you guys talk about a very different rope conversation this morning.
That's right. I will say this: playing with the Adam West skin on is hilarious.
I'm
and
so
I
jealous.
suggest,
So weird.
I suggest everybody do that if they
Or
can.
the weird anime one.
Yeah, I mean, all that stuff is great. I
anime?
think it's really cool.
Yeah, the anime one's really scary.
I
So my
I really just want to be like everything in that game is made of carbon fiber and cardboard boxes
Yeah.
with blood and
And
just
Yeah.
like, and it's
Did you
so,
see the Batman Beyond comparison? They compared like the cartoon version to like the super
That is
jacked
one
up
of
like
the
crazy.
that is one of
video
the
game version.
ugliest, most abrasively stupid looking things I've ever seen in a video game.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
so
but that's skin.
Destin put together a video that's every
Like
single
Bruce Timm
one.
should go over to Rocksteady and slap someone in the face for that. That is an affront to art direction.
That
really-
skin was actually the movie that Pee Wee Herman was seeing when he was doing.
Oh my god!
I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
hold on.
Dur- it's
So let me
interesting
get
though if you
into
watch the video of all the skins because
Yeah.
80% of them are terrible.
Let me get into my main issue with this game, and this is something that I feel like everyone should be complaining about, but they're kind of getting a free pass on. And that is you can finish Arkham Knight, but when you do and you get an ending, and to be fair, like the ending sequence that you get from finishing the game is ridiculous and awesome and crazy, completely insane. Just like really kind of like one of the most comic book things I've ever seen in a video game where you're like, how did you do this? But once you do that, you're kicked back into the main world, and they basically say, to get the best ending in this game, you have to collect every single Riddler trophy, of which there are 243 of them. Most of them are not fun. Some of them are great, but it's one of the most grindy things to actually kick somebody out into doing. So most people just did what I did, which is go on YouTube and watch the ending, because I'm like, you know, I like to be completionist in open world games, but this is where I had to draw the line. And I think it's a really big issue. So I hope we never see anything like that again from them or from any other video game.
It's not like
kind of a pain in the ass.
There are lots of like true endings. It's like a huge JRPG thing, right? Like
Yeah.
in Persona 4 or whatever, like to get there's literally a 30-minute epilogue that's hidden behind if you do a second playthrough and get the true ending and be the real boss.
I think
and
it's
blah, blah,
kind
blah.
of obnoxious that they tell you that's how you do it.
That's the thing, and that's my thing too. Like it's usually like an epilogue or a cool Easter egg or like an ambiguous tease for something. Like if this is actually part of the core story, that seems really weird to me. Like if you have to actually do it.
Well, because you find yourself like, and I know Batman's a ridiculous character, and I think that's like kind of why I both love and hate the fact that we have so much Batman now. Is that like Batman is amazing because when he doesn't overstay his welcome. When you are playing with him for 25 hours, it starts to get a little tedious and ridiculous that this gruff asshole is calling all his friends and just being like, do me favors, I need your help. And he never says thank you or anything
Batman,
like that.
it's Tim. Do you want help with something? Leave me alone.
Leave me alone, Robin.
I'm killing people with my car.
Damn it, Robin, I gotta change my phone number.
I like the idea of Batman as really awful Roman Bellic, just like calling his brother.
Yeah. No,
Dude,
totally.
I hate how much he's just, dude, maybe get off Skype for a minute. Just stop FaceTiming everyone you know.
Oh my God, it is nonstop in that game. Like,
This is what it like. You said the most astute thing about this, and it's just that it feels like a Batman game for millennials.
Yeah.
Just people who are I don't mean to sound like the oldest man in the world, because technically I am also a millennial.
Ooh,
but
I got
like,
a tweet. I got a Facebook message. I got a new Instagram
I'm gonna add this
follower.
to my Snapchat story.
Yeah.
I got a new like on Instagram. I better go see who it is. Oh, it's the Riddler.
Like, can you maybe just sit and be Batman for a minute? Is that okay? Can it just be quiet in your own head for 5 minutes? You need a phone call from Lucius and the Riddler and Alfred and Robin and Catwoman.
Can you just fight a crime?
Can you just fight a crime?
He's a dude who watched his parents get killed when he was a kid.
That means he's got to be on the phone all the time?
Yeah.
It's social media is great if you feel lonely.
Yeah.
I never heard that. I never heard that about orphans on social media. Forget it.
I didn't read that. Dickens never wrote about that.
So anyway, personally, I hope that the next Arkham game is way more intimate and goes back to something like Arkham Asylum. Like,
Hold on. We got an email.
Okay, Beyond.
What would you like to see? Sorry, this is from our Canadian buddy Klein, who says, "I have a question that has been haunting me, like the news ghost himself. Here it is. With the release of Batman Arkham Knight and the conclusion of Rocksteady's Batman trilogy, what would you like to see them tackle next? A new IP, another licensed franchise? For me, I would like to see them take what they've done with Batman and pretty much copy and paste it into the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles universe."
Well, have fun with all those pizza
Who
truck
wrote that letter?
missions.
Our Canadian buddy Klein.
Klein, our Canadian buddy, we have heard about the Ninja Turtles game for years as a rumor.
Well, Activision has the IP, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't
Their
know.
name
if
is
that's gonna
Rocksteady. I hope it's a solo game about Rocksteady.
What's the
And
Bebop
then another
Rocksteady?
genre
How
called
we met
Bebop.
How we made Bebop.
The love story.
Yeah, I think I would love to see them not do Batman, and not that I don't want more Arkham games eventually, but like give it a year off, like let Rocksteady tackle a new IP, or even if they want to stay within this world, do like people say, like the Justice League game or whatever it is, but like let them branch out.
Yeah.
It's almost like that weird thing where like Killzone went on for so long, and then we saw what they did with Horizon, and it's like the opposite color palette. It's like so different.
Yeah.
I would love to see them do a bright colored superhero game.
I wanted to
Yeah.
make, I
We
wanted
heard
to
a
do a Harry
Superman
Potter
game.
game.
Yeah, or Harry Potter
They
game
have
would
the
be
WB license.
incredible.
Yeah.
We were talking about this. I think that there was a rumor for a while that they were going to be doing a Silver Age Batman game.
Right. There was that steampunk thing that we saw.
Yeah, Silver Age. That was Gotham by
Gaslight.
Gaslight,
Right.
which is different. But Silver Age would be like for people not comic friendly, whatever. That's like basically the dumbest period of comic books. Like that is Golden Age is like the 30s and 40s. Silver Age is like 60s and 70s, and basically when there'd be weird stuff like Rainbow Batman or Superman had a dog or like Superman puts a lead box on Lois Lane's head because he doesn't want to read her mind, or it didn't make any sense. There's all like this really ridiculous stuff. And the thing is they spend so much time making this incredibly realistic world, but it still has all of these totally silly video game tropes. I would love it if they used Silver Age logic to actually explain every bit of ludonarrative dissonance, but with just the worst kind of like just dumb Silver Age Deus Ex Machina stuff.
Yeah.
Where they're just like, he had to go back to his home planet. We brought them back to life with crystals. That's how we did it.
I would love that because I mean I don't know. I feel like the Batman games are so kind of like aggro, and I don't mean that really in a negative way. I think that sort of fits the tone. Again, he's an orphan and he fights clowns, but a lot of them in this game. There's so much clowns, but I would love to see them do something a little more lighthearted, or at least palette-wise, like go with the Batman animated series palette, which is a very dark show, but
that'd be cool.
just
That'd
that
be
sort of
awesome.
like very clean, kind of paper cut texture.
Well, and that's a DC problem in general now, right? Like the whole idea, like during the Nolan era of Batman, it's like, it became very grounded and very serious and very dark. And it's like you see the Batman vs Superman trailer, you saw Zack Snyder's Superman a couple years ago. It's like they're all dark now, and no matter what, it's all dark and gritty. And like that works for Batman, but it doesn't work for like the 30 other heroes in the DC universe. So
yeah, the reality is if they don't make the next Batman game, someone's going to have to because it's a $1 billion money printing IP.
Of course,
and if it's who worked on Origins?
Montreal, yeah.
So what I really want to see from Rocksteady, if they do make another Batman game, is I kind of miss the kind of Metroid Prime intimacy of the first game, of being like this is an isolated area, and again they've gone so open world that it's going to be really impossible and jarring to go back. But I like the here's one area. And you just one building or some.
What if you just get lost in your house?
Yeah, you get lost.
Just
you get,
gone home,
but
Wayne
Colin
Manor.
Batman. Yeah,
that'd be awesome. That would be awesome. No, but I liked all the fact that there were like tunnels and areas that you had to unlock through mechanisms that you earned through boss fights and stuff like that, and upgrades. Like it made more sense than like you got a few upgrades in Arkham Knight, but I never really felt like, oh wow, the whole world.
Did you die 25 times? Try killing them with your car.
I haven't done Arkham Knight yet, but yeah, like in hindsight, it does look like Arkham Asylum is pretty much the best one, or at least the tightest of the experiences.
And I
think,
miss that,
Like I really like Arkham City, but feels like sometimes too much freedom is a bad thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I think like that first game really strikes that balance where it feels like a really big world, but you are kind of locked in, and you do have to wait to unlock certain
It's
areas.
like the difference between Die Hard and Die Hard with a Vengeance, which I think are both awesome movies. Sorry. But the first one takes place in one isolated building, right? And so much gets done in that.
Perfect.
And the third one is basically let's take all 5 boroughs in New York City and just go crazy. Yeah, it's not awful. You don't like Die Hard
We've
at all.
had this fight a million times.
You don't like Die Hard with a Vengeance?
Better DieArd 2. It's not. It is a great movie. I like it quite a bit. It is nowhere near Die Hard 1.
It was originally not a Die Hard movie.
Of course, it was Simon Says or whatever. Yeah. Well,
Neither
no
was
Die Hard
Dirty
movie.
Dancing.
It was a
with Anna Knight.
Simon Says movie.
It was called Simon Says. The
Says.
first Die Hard movie that was written as a Die Hard movie was, I think, Die Hard 4.
Yeah.
Which is really weird. No, it was Die Hard 5 because 4 was some anyway.
Yeah.
Tune
Each one of those
into our
were
Die Hard podcast later
basically,
this
they were
week.
like spec scripts that were for action movies, and somebody was like, "Well, let's put John McClane in this."
Yeah, especially Die Hard 2 was like barely like it. Like,
but I love that. Like, I would love like you drop Batman on the first floor of a corporate building that's 60 stories tall, and it's like created by
it's like Judge Dredd or The Raid.
It's Judge
but with
Dredd. And
Batman.
he needs things to get through each floor and kill everybody.
God,
or
and
beat
like
everybody.
each floor could be zoned off by like this is like Two-Face's territory, this is like Joker's territory, and like they're fighting amongst
That'd
themselves
be awesome
as they're going
if
up.
there was this like
what?
villain
Really cool.
tower in Gotham City.
Well,
You know,
only
just
way you
like-
could get up
you know,
those.
a hero would work really well for that would be Green Arrow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Green-
A Green Arrow game
Isn't that what
would be-
Supermax was? That original long before Arrow, there was that concept for a movie called Supermax, which
Yeah.
was basically like the maximum security prison of supervillains. They all get out, and Green Arrow basically is like, oh no, it's Superman's day off, so I guess I got to do this myself.
Yeah.
I think that would be incredible.
Oracle, I need the arrow.
I mean, it would basically be
Barbara?
the new Tomb Raider. You know, you'd start out on an island. And you're like, oh no, I'm a billionaire with a bow and arrow. I gotta fight some guys.
Yeah.
Oh, God, that would be cool.
These pot
I
farmers
want a
are up to
Batman
no
game
good.
Batman game where he gets off on every floor and it's just like, ding. Have you seen Barbara? Ding. Have you seen Barbara? All right. Should we wrap up?
Should we wrap
Yeah.
up a
Let's
little
Probably
bit?
wrap it up.
We can wrap it up.
Let's before we go, let's pimp the I want to pimp the No Man's Sky stuff. What's going on?
Yeah.
Sure, I can think of it up
I
today.
had a bunch of questions. I will read them next week. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. In the Podcast Beyond Facebook group, I asked you for questions for a little segment called Rapid Fire, but Andrew stayed too long in the sheets today,
Yeah.
in the bedtime zone,
Yeah, we'll try and
the bang box.
we're early on in the life of the news thing here. We'll keep it short.
And this is very bad.
All right. Jesus Christ. But yeah, our IGN first for July, if you haven't seen it yet, is No Man's Sky, which is quite incredible. We debuted on Monday with 18 minutes of footage with some commentary by Ryan McCaffrey and Sean Murray of Hello Games.
Yep.
The footage is awesome. It's like the longest look we have at the game. You sort of realize like certain things like, oh, there's a wanted system on planets. And if you start messing everything up, all of a sudden space cops are going to come after you. And I'm like, oh, okay. I
know.
understand
It's
this game
so
a little bit
cool.
more now.
Like, I understand the moment to moment now, which is all I've wanted.
Yeah.
So yeah, watching that footage is like, it really is worth trying to watch it uninterrupted. Like that's the title of the video, but I try and watch it for 18 minutes and get it more. Yeah, I think that was really cool, and the thing today is actually really interesting.
Yeah, Mitch
too.
has his piece sort of on how like.
It's how to leave your mark on the universe.
Yeah. And we're gonna have cool stuff going up all month. Interviews with Sean Murray about his inspirations, more gameplay stuff, how more systems work, a studio visit. Really cool stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. That game looks nuts.
No Man's Ski.
Norman's Sky.
Norman Sky.
All right.
Not all man's Sky.
Yeah, there we go. That's the one. All right. On that note, if you'd like to use hashtags to make friends on the computer, you can find us all on twitter.com. I'm Max Scoville. Marty is McBiggity. That's how do you spell that stupid
With
name?
2 G's and 2 T's.
All right. Brian is Agent Bizzle.
That's right.
And Andrew is Garfep.
That's right.
Oh, Mondays. Beyond!
Beyond.
Beyond.
Beyond.